Positive Anime Reviews is a review show that is designed for people who aren't very picky about their anime, like me. Most anime I watch ends up in my 5 out of 5 category. My reviews are for those people who are looking for a reason to watch anime rather than hate on it. I am willing to give any and all anime a chance before stating my opinion. Lastly, my reviews are all my opinion and might and or most likely won't match yours. If you don't agree, that's totally fine. Just be respectful in the comment section. Thank you. And as always, there is a spoiler section ahead, but don't worry, I'll warn you first. Hey guys, Darth Clerk here, back with another positive anime review. Today we will be talking about Val Love. So, hello once again, everybody. I am once again very sorry for the very sparse uploads, but I have mentioned it before, but of course my computer is dead, so I am using, I can use it just long enough to squeeze out these positive anime reviews, and that's about the best I can do. So, you know, the occasional upload is about all I got, so sorry about that, but it is the way it is for now, until I get a new PC, but don't worry, it is in fact on my radar. Okay, so, let me think. So I think we'll get to the other business I had after the review is over. So anyway, like I said, we were talking about Val Love. So, this is a much newer anime, and it is surprising for me because most anime I watch is not new. Historically, I tend to wait a long time before I get into anything, but this is from the fall 2019 season. So, of course, that was, the tail end of last year pretty much, and, it doesn't really make a difference. It's just kind of nice to kind of catch up on things that everyone else is watching for a change. And by comparison, of course, we are 3 months into 2020 already. And but shrug. So is there a dub? I have no idea. Not only do I not know, I didn't look, and I don't really usually watch dubs, so I can't tell you on that front. Now, as far as is this an adaptation from a manga, the answer to that is yes, it is an adaptation. Now this is not surprisingly another one. Sorry, I just muted my iPad so it won't make noise. Anyway, this is another one of the characters, or this is another one of the. I completely lost my train of thought. My stupid iPad threw me off. Yeah, it's a manga I have not read. I have not read the manga. That's no surprise. Most of the time I have not read manga. I am just barely kind of dipping my toes into the manga scene just a little bit, so I am incredibly behind on that front. Anyway, so let's go ahead and hop right into the synopsis. Honestly, it was just kind of nice to hop into any anime that wasn't Yuri. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, I do really love Yuri, and of course I did. We watched 3 seasons, a few movies, like, obviously we watched them all, but it was just kind of nice to watch something new that I hadn't seen before, so that was definitely nice and refreshing. And in season 3 of Yuri, the synopsis was blank. It just said season 3. This one at least has a couple sentences. Now this synopsis is very short, but at least it has some sentences. Honestly, the plot is not exactly very complicated, and so it's no surprise that this is all that we are given. Anyway, so let's go ahead and hop right in. High schooler, oh heavens, Takuma Akutsu, I can't say his last name. Takuma. That is his first name, right? Yeah, okay. Sorry. It's because in the synopsis they wrote his name backwards, and like backwards is like the last name first, like they do in Japan. And so because of that, they do that in the synopsis, so it threw me off. Sorry. High schooler Takuma has learned to accept his lonely lot in life and is content surrounded by his studies. But when the god Odin taps him to save the world alongside 9 Valkyries fueled by intimacy, Takuma can say goodbye to his solitary existence. So that's it. That's the plot. There you go. So obviously, I'm assuming I found wallpapers or pictures or something for you to look at. And if you are looking at that, you can already probably smell the ecchi in the water, and you would be right. This is a very ecchi anime. And I am 100% okay with that. So if you are not an ecchi person, then of course that is very much up to you, and you are not going to enjoy this anime. If you are someone that is okay with harem and ecchi and whatnot, then stick around. You'll probably enjoy it. So, of course, as far as moving on to our next section, rating, how clean or dirty is the anime? Pretty stinking dirty. The whole thing is ecchi. As the synopsis alluded to, these Valkyries, they have to fight to save the world. Well, the Valkyries, they get their powers like leveled up, so to speak, by intimacy. And so obviously Takuma is the designated dude that has to be the other side of that intimacy with all of them. I mean, most of them. And so because of that, it is, yeah, so because of that, it's very ecchi. Like the whole plot revolves around ecchi. Now, even though the whole plot is a meme, a lot in the anime that it's a meme in anime. In this particular case, there is plot, and I honestly liked it a little more most of the time than other ecchi anime I've seen. The one that came to mind was High School DxD. Obviously, that one is incredibly ecchi, but that one, the farther you go, the dumber the plot becomes. And I liked the original premise and stuff, and so it was just it was kind of disappointing. Like in the last season was just a real letdown by comparison. And so this one, where the plot was actually entertaining and the characters were too, and that was nice. It was nice having although it was ecchi, which I'm okay with, it also had some plot that wasn't just a meme, and that that was nice. It was refreshing. So as far as the genre goes, that is no surprise. Harem, comedy, supernatural, romance, ecchi, school, and shonen as well, I guess. But harem, ecchi, romance, school, you get the idea. Nothing unexpected there. And again, as far as rating, definitely I would give this a mature rating. It's the whole thing is ecchi. It's every single episode is filled with something ecchi, and so and some of it more like surprisingly ecchi than others, and it's a lot. So if it bothers you, you're not going to enjoy this. So moving on to season length, it is nothing new. It is one season, 12 episodes, 23 minutes per episode. Nothing new there. If memory serves, there was nothing after the songs in each episode. After the closing song hits, if memory serves, it was just a preview into the next episode. As usual, I would encourage you to check and to double check me, just in case I'm wrong. But if memory served, there was nothing afterwards other than a preview. So like I said, you're more than welcome to check, because I watch a lot of anime, and so it's a little hard to remember which ones did and which ones didn't have something after the closing song. So it's a little hard to juggle all of that, and so because of that, I always encourage you to check, but I believe it was just a preview. So moving on to our next section of the character section. So there were quite a few characters. Technically, there were 9 Valkyries plus the main dude, Takuma. So technically, there is a solid, basically 10 characters. Now, of the 9 Valkyries, there is only a few of them are actual quote-unquote main characters, as far as what they're filed as, whereas a lot of the other ones are very much supporting characters. And so we will, as usual, just touch on the main characters, and then the rest of it, I would encourage you to go watch the anime, and so you can meet the rest of the supporting cast. But as usual, we will be hopping into the main characters. So of the main characters, there is labeled 4 of them. There is 4 main characters that are labeled, and so we will be touching on those ones. So hopping into our first main character, pretty much the only dude in the whole anime, or at least the only dude that, the only prevalent guy in the anime. It's just blue screen again. Okay, we are back. So, I have no idea. So, my computer hit 100% on the disk. So, the recording is still going, so it still apparently salvaged it. So hopefully with editing, you won't even be able to tell. I mean, you probably will be able to tell because I just told you, but it'll be a small hiccup in the video. Anyway, sorry about that. My computer, I just expect it to die on me any given moment. So that's why I kind of blow through this. Not overly fast, but fast enough to get this thing done and get it hopefully up on the channel before my computer dies on me yet again. So, moving on to our first main character, we of course have Takuma. He's the only prevalent, relevant male in the anime, and he's pretty easy to recognize because the dude is 900 feet tall, and he has dark hair and it looks like a big old scar on his cheek. It looks like, but as far as But yeah, he is huge. Very, very intimidating as well. Everyone in his class, everyone at school, everyone he sees, everyone is scared to death of him because the man, I mean, he is massive. He's very, very tall, and he has a mean face. He looks very scary. Now, when it comes to actual personality, it does not match what he looks like at all. His personality is very, very timid, and he's actually very scared of people. Now that I totally get. But he is very, very scared of people, and so because of it, he's pretty paralyzed by fear when it comes to being outside or interacting with anyone or associating with literally any other living soul. So obviously it's very, very, part of it is that he looks even scarier because he's not relaxed at all. So he's like super, super on edge, and it makes him look even scarier, so that tends to scare people away. And so yeah, like I said, in personality, he's very, very quiet. Now his like quietness is very much attributed to things that happens in his past. And so there is plot reasons for the way of why he acts the way he does, and I did like that they did find that they did find an excuse to give him, you know, there is reasons why, and I liked that. So the interesting thing, so honestly, at first, he's not incredibly likable as a character. You know, it takes a while for you to get to like him, at least for me, because it's a super common trope for lots of harem anime, where the main character for some reason is super not on board with like the girls of the anime throwing themselves at you, like throwing themselves at the main character, and for some reason the main character is like not on board. And so like it always blows my mind. You're like, what guy would possibly want to turn down all of these gorgeous women that are throwing themselves at you? Like, and so it's always this common trope in anime that it's always this, you know, it's always a thing. And so this is, and honestly, fair warning, this is no different. He is just like that. Now, because of his specific situation and his fear of people, it did help lessen the blow a little bit, because often I find that very annoying, because you're just like, oh, you would just like, why would you do that? Like, why would you turn her down? Or why would you like say something so stupid and heartless? Like, it's like the guys are really, really stupid. You're like, things that they'll say that they're like, what? Why is she mad at me? And you're like, probably because you just insulted her. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm overly in tune with people's body language or something, but I don't feel like it's rocket science. And so in this anime is no different as far as the trope goes of the guy being overly blind and overly not on board with the girls. And honestly, it takes a while for you to warm up to him. But this one, the blow was softened just a little bit because of his specific situation and his fear of people. It did make it a little easier to believe and a little easier to be, you know, it made it a little easier to be okay with it. Because obviously it does take him a while to get used to it. Now, eventually he does, and eventually he's way more on board. He does have his improvement moments, and then he does come around. And, of course, that was super, super nice. And then he was far more likable when he actually manned up and he was, you know, sort of became the person that he is deep down. Once he let that person shine through and, you know, once he let that person shine through, he was very, very likable. And so it does take a while, and I'll be the first to admit that, you know, it's kind of a slow burn. But if you can get through it on the other side, I think it'll be worth it. So moving on to our next main character, we have Natsuki. So all of these girls' last names are all the same because they're all sisters. So I'm not going to say their last name. I think their last name was like Satome. It's like Saotome. But so I'm not going to say they're their last names because they're all the same last name. Plus, as usual, it's hard for me to pronounce. So, like I said, Natsuki. So she is our blonde-haired character. She has long blonde hair. Now, the first thing is, if you might have already, you know, noticed the same thing, is if you're getting some serious vibes of, I don't even remember her name. Is it like Nesakoi, but I forget the name of the anime. But there's this anime where there's this blonde-haired girl. I think her name might be Senna, and she has a blue like butterfly, like I don't know, like hair clip or something. She's also blonde-haired. If you looked at Natsuki and your first thought was, I think her name is Senna from that anime, then you're not alone, because that was the first thing I thought too. But as far as personality goes, she is one of the 9 sisters, and one of the most main characters of the sisters. There is 3 of them that really get spotlights as far as all the girls go, and she is one of them. So as far as personality goes, you know, she is a lot like the rest of them, where she is a Valkyrie. So she's like this, like, basically kind of like a demigod from Valhalla and all that, and all that jazz. And her father, I think is Odin, and like all of these girls' father is Odin. And so she was sent here to, defend Earth after it's going to get destroyed by the bad guys. It's very straightforward. But as far as personalities, of course, she's on board with doing that. But there's lots of common tropes of, that there, like, lots of him walking in on him, and lots of oh, I fell and now I'm touching you weird, like, all the tropes are all over the place. Now, again, I sound like I'm not enjoying it or I'm not on board here, but the part of that is my mood, and part of it is like when you have to say it out loud, it like you're like, man, like there's not that much that is redeemable about this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it sounds worse out loud than it actually is. Trust me, it's not as bad as I'm making it sound. A lot of it is my mood today, so I do apologize about that. But underneath it all, Natsuki genuinely is a really sweet girl. She genuinely does develop feelings for Takuma, and thing is, obviously, like I said, it takes forever for Takuma to catch up and to get on board and to, be a part of this particular of what's happening. And then he says some stupid crap to Natsuki because he's too stupid to realize what you should and shouldn't say. But it all ends well, and he does come around, and it's fine. And so Natsuki does get much more resolution, and there's and he does have his cool moments and lots of things. And then, like I said, she's very, very sweet, but she's not timid, and she's not scared to just lay down the law and stuff. And she's one of the most main fighters of the group, because they all have different skills and things that they're good at, specific powers and stuff. And Natsuki is one of their main fighters, because just the way things worked out. So Natsuki is often in the forefront, especially in the first part of the anime, because she is the only one that's capable of fighting for the most part. Anywho, so that is pretty much Natsuki in a nutshell. And so moving on to our next main character, we have, I guess we'll just do Itsuyo. Man, that's hard to say with my stutter. But it's spelled like Itsuyo. So it's like Itsuyo, and so I don't know. So she has dark hair. I think it's black. I'm gonna open this picture here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's black. So this girl, I'm trying to avoid saying her name because it's really hard for me to pronounce with my poor stutter. But so she is far more. What's the word I'm looking for? Assertive, maybe. She's far more aggressive. She's not nearly as timid as Natsuki. And she's so she is the president of the student council, as their quote unquote cover, and because Takuma is in high school, and so she is also there, and I think all three of the girls are in I think at least the three main girls are in high school as well. So yeah, oh nope, it's trying. We're here. Okay. Anyway, I'm just watching this little bar, like the program freeze and unfreeze, and I'm not sure if it really froze or if it's like a fake freeze, or like, did it blue screen that time, or did we lose it, or what? So I keep looking down and losing my train of thought because it's really distracting to watch my computer possibly freeze on me. Anyway, so as far as personality goes, Itsuyo, right? So she's far more assertive and far more, I don't know, like, aggressive, confident than Natsuki and a lot of the other girls are. Now, because they raise their powers with intimacy and stuff, Itsuyo is far more like driven to raise her powers and be the most powerful and everything. She is far more driven and far more aggressive. And at first, you're worried that she has like kind of I don't know what the word is, like, I don't know, like more selfish desires. She doesn't so much desire to save the world as she does just to get powerful. And at first, you're worried that she's not going to be likable, but very quickly, it's kind of sorted out that she actually is a good guy. That she actually is likable. And so her first impressions aren't the greatest, but after you get past those first initial impressions, she's very likable. And then once her backstory is revealed, it shows more about her and like how she was very different when she was young and stuff. And so then once her character's explained, she's even more likable when things make a lot more sense with her. And then, then the farther it goes, the more you like her. And she's another one of the main fighters, so to speak. And she's, like I said, she is one of our few main characters that are labeled as main character. And so down deep, she kind of like hides this insecurity, which is fairly common for people that are very outwardly confident. Inwardly that she is not nearly as confident as she appears, and just like the rest of them, she has feelings toward Takuma, but it takes a while for her to realize it, and because she keeps telling herself that she's using him and all this stuff at first, and then it's very obvious that she's not, and then later she realizes it too, and so it's this whole thing. But she is likable, and more likable than I'm describing her, and I'm sorry for that, but like I said, my mood is weird today. So, moving on to our next and final main character, we have Mutsumi. So, Mutsumi she's very, very quiet. So, she is, I think it's pink hair. Let me open this picture here. She has like shorter pink hair, and Mutsumi is not so much of a fighter. Now, she does have fighting abilities, but she's often labeled as someone who can't fight at all. Now, she can, and that's part of it, is she's not very confident by comparison. She is much more timid, much more quiet, and not nearly as outwardly confident as a lot of her other sisters. A part of it is for her gaining confidence to, to pursue Takuma, to pursue raising her powers, to, there's a lot it takes for her to come around. But that's part of the fun, is seeing her go from very quiet to much more outwardly confident, and her being able to act on her feelings a little bit more and stuff like that. It is part of the fun. And then other than being timid, she's very, very sweet, very, very loving, and she's very, very, very supportive. Whereas Itsuyo often comes across as kind of, I don't know, in some cases condescending, and I don't know, but Mutsumi just comes across as very, very sweet, in addition to her kind of timid, quiet sort of nature, and it blends and it makes sense, and and she's very likable very quickly, especially once you realize who she is and how she acts, and you're like, I can just tell you're gonna be a sweet person, and I liked that. It was nice having that. And that's basically our main character list. So the more than likely the wallpapers you're seeing includes a lot of characters, and there is quite a few of them. Lots of them get touched on, but they're all the rest of them are labeled supporting characters, so I'm not really gonna touch on them. But the rest of the cast is interesting. There is lots of other really good characters that are fleshed out enough that they do feel like real people for the most part. And then there's a lot of things that aren't touched on that it feels like on purpose, because it was set up for another season, and so, but there was enough closure that you didn't feel like you got robbed or anything. And I don't feel like that this is spoiler territory, because this is very general terms here. But there were lots of reveals, and some characters didn't feel like they were fleshed out, but it very much feels like to me that they were specifically left out to set up for another season so they could be touched on later on. So it didn't feel like that you got robbed. So that's basically our character list, and I'm not going to go incredibly deep into it, because like I said, there is a very large supporting cast, and every one of them is likable in their own cute ways. And like I said, everyone has their own personalities and quirks and traits and everything else, and I do hope that in later seasons, hopefully we get some, and hopefully that more people are fleshed out. That would be super, super nice. So moving on to favorite / most hated characters. So as far as favorites go, it's a little hard to say. I'm pretty neutral on pretty much everyone, to be honest. This was a very much I don't know. It wasn't like, I did like it, and this is labeled a positive anime review for a reason, but it wasn't like, I wasn't like, like jumping out of my chair, and there were lots of cool moments, but a lot of the characters I'm like, are they cool? Yes, they're cool. Are they like, this is my favorite character, she's the best, I don't know, like, I'm looking at them, I liked all of them, you know what I mean? Like, every one of them was likable in their own way. I'm not sure, just glancing at him, like, I can think of some characters that I didn't love. I'm trying to remember which one is which. I think one of the girls' name is Ichika. I can't totally pronounce it very well, but she's the oldest sister. I didn't love her. Her personality kind of sucks, and so I didn't love her. Honestly, Takuma, the main dude, didn't really like him. Like, it took a long time for him to come around and for me to actually be okay with him, but I didn't like him for a long time. But there were characters that I really did like. Like, one of the side characters, her name is Misa, I believe. I think is the one I'm thinking of. I really liked her. She was genuinely just a good person. Otherwise, I liked a lot of them. So I'm not really going to say a favorite / most hated, because I didn't hate anybody. But on that same token, I didn't really love anybody either. Pretty neutral on pretty much everybody. So moving on to animation and music. So the music in this one was fine. There was nothing jaw-dropping about the music. It wasn't groundbreaking, music or anything, but it was good. It did its job. Nothing noteworthy there, I would say. But the animation is very, very cool. Part of the cool thing is when the girls, they level up their powers, their outfit changes. So their outfit changes when they're in battle, and it does look super cool. And that was one of the coolest things, was seeing them go from their weaker form to the stronger form. And there were fights. They were cool. They weren't the most insane fights I've ever seen or anything, but they were awesome. They were interesting. They were enjoyable. And of course that was super, super cool, and I was okay with that. And then the animation was amazing. The costume changes once they did get their power level ups were super, super cool. I liked a lot of their powers. Of what we saw was super, super fun. And Yeah, it was a good time as far as the animation and the music it goes. It was pretty good. So before we hop into final rating and recommendation, just a few final thoughts because this review felt pretty scatterbrained to me because, like I said, I've watched my computer fake freeze like 6 times already, and so it's a little I keep like hesitating and losing my train of thought and things. So just to get a few things clear, this anime was a good time. You'll see that in the actual score in just a minute. It is very ecchi. Where like it's not hentai, but it's borderline hentai. It's softcore hentai. It's a lot like the aggressive scenes of High School DxD. It's a lot like that, or any other harem you could think of. But they didn't pull very many punches in this one. I was okay with that. I don't care at all. I just thought I would warn you. This is a very ecchi anime. It's borderline hentai with plot, and it's not. And it's not straight up hentai, for better or for worse. Your stance on that is up to you. For better or for worse, it's not straight up hentai, but it is pretty soft core. And but there is plot, and I was there for the plot on a meme basis and on a very much a serious basis. I was there for the plot. So anyway, and so moving on to final rating and recommendation, I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 5. Very good. This anime made no mistakes worth noting and is definitely worth a buy. So yeah, it's a good time. No surprise there. 5 out of 5. That is a very normal score for me, and of course this one, despite how I might have made it sound, it was very good. It is 5 out of 5 because I have mentioned before, my reviews are a spectrum. It's very much a spectrum. Like this one, like if you were counting like 5 point whatever, this is on the lower end of 5 out of 5s because it was 5 out of 5, and it wasn't enough that there's nothing worth docking its score, but it wasn't also the most insane anime you ever saw. I would be really surprised if anyone. There were lots of cool moments I liked. There were lots of cool moments that made you want to watch it and it did feel like above average harem anime, but possibly like, I don't know, but it wasn't jaw-dropping or anything in lots of parts. It's a good time. I absolutely recommend it. But it is just, yeah, so it's just kind of, it's good, but it's not great, and I don't know. And that makes it sound negative, and I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to figure out how to tell you that it's not the best anime you're ever going to see, but it was good. And maybe that's the best I can do. So that's basically it. So, my next review might be a little ways off, to be honest, because there is a couple of anime that I really want to watch them, and I am gonna watch them. So the thing is, it is anime I've already seen, A, and B, I've already done a review on them both. So I can't do another review, obviously, but I'm still gonna watch them. So for you guys, it might look like I'm taking a break, when in actuality, I'm watching some anime that I just really want to watch, a couple of old favorites of mine. So I am watching some favorites. They already have reviews, so there'll be no reviews of them coming out because they're already on the channel. I am rewatching, right now I'm rewatching the Saga of Tanya the Evil, which is a 6 out of 5 for me. It's a fantastic anime. And then after that, I'm going to rewatch Overlord. That was another 6 out of 5 for me. It was also amazing. So I'm rewatching the Saga of Tanya the Evil and Overlord, and then I'm going to watch Overlord. But then when I'm done with that, I'll probably pick something new, and then that one will probably have a review. So I don't know how long my next one will be off, but it is there. At some point, an update might be coming out from my channel explaining what the new plan is as far as what's ahead for me, for the channel. At some point, eventually, it is on my to-do list. There's going to be a channel update where I just talk about what's ahead for the channel, because I feel like I've been very uninformative, and honestly, I have barely been checking my channel at all. Historically, I have looked really hard at the subscriber count, like, are we getting views? And again, I'm not doing it for the views, but I like seeing interaction. And so previously, I was on top of it every day. Well, since my whole computer died thing and the gaming content having to stop, I have honestly, it's a little bit hard emotionally for me to check my channel and see how many days it's been since my last upload. So because of it, I don't check my channel very much anymore. So eventually, there's going to be an update where I just talk about the future of the channel, and don't worry, it is positive. There is hope. I don't want to make it sound like I'm leaving, because I'm not. We're on a temporary hiatus, but the keyword there is temporary, because I will be back with more than just anime reviews in the future. So anyway, that is going to call for this one. Thank you guys so much